Have you ever felt it? That quiet, creeping sensation that the river of time is no longer a gentle stream but a rushing torrent, pulling you ever faster toward an unseen horizon. The days blur into weeks, the weeks into years, and you're left with a faint, unsettling question. Where did it all go? We mark our lives with the steady, unforgiving tick of the clock, a metronome that dictates our every move. Wake up. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. This is clock time, the time of schedules, deadlines, and efficiency. It is the time of the machine, impartial and absolute. But there is another time, a deeper, more mysterious current that flows within us. It is the time of consciousness, a dimension not measured in seconds but felt in moments. It is the joy that makes an hour feel like a minute, and the sorrow that stretches a minute into an eternity. This is the time of the soul. The French philosopher Henri Bergson gave it a name: duration. He saw that our modern world had made a grave error. We had mistaken the map for the territory, the measurement for the experience. We had forgotten that we do not just live in time, we are time. This isn't just poetry, it's a fundamental truth of our existence, one that science is only now beginning to grasp. The feeling that time accelerates as we age isn't a mere illusion. It is a direct consequence of the way our brain processes reality. When we are children, the world is a canvas of infinite novelty. Every day is an expedition into the unknown. The taste of a new food, the scent of summer rain, the thrill of a first friendship. Each of these experiences is a vibrant, indelible mark etched into our memory. The brain, hungry for data, works tirelessly to encode this flood of new information. And because so much is being recorded, our retrospective sense of time is vast and expansive. A single childhood summer can feel like a lifetime. But then, routine sets in. Adulthood brings with it a landscape of familiarity. The daily commute, the predictable tasks, the recurring conversations. Our world, once an uncharted wilderness, becomes a well-trodden path. The brain, in its quest for efficiency, shifts into what neuroscientists call economy mode. It no longer needs to register every detail because it has seen it all before. It creates cognitive shortcuts, bundling repetitive experiences together. The result? Fewer unique memories are formed. The rich, detailed chapters of our youth are replaced by brief, uneventful summaries. The years begin to blend, one into the next, and time in our memory contracts. It doesn't fly, it vanishes. We have become prisoners of a temporal illusion, one of our own making. We believe that by optimizing our schedules and squeezing every last drop of productivity from our days, we are mastering time. But we are only deepening our servitude to the clock. The sociologist Hartmut Rosa calls this the logic of acceleration. The more we try to save time, the more we feel we are running out of it. We fill our calendars to the brim, believing a full life is a fast life. But we are merely creating a life of frantic emptiness, a blur of tasks completed without presence, of moments passed without being truly lived. And the cost is immense. Mental exhaustion, chronic stress, a pervasive sense of anxiety. These are the hallmarks of a society that has forgotten how to simply be. We live in a state of perpetual distraction, our attention fractured by a constant barrage of digital noise. We have lost the capacity for deep focus, for quiet contemplation, for the kind of immersive experiences that give time its texture and its meaning. We are living in the shallows, while the deep, resonant ocean of duration lies just beneath the surface, waiting to be rediscovered. But how do we break free? How do we reclaim the richness of lived experience in a world that conspires to keep us running? The answer is not to abandon our responsibilities or reject modernity. The answer lies in a radical shift of consciousness. It begins with the simple, profound act of paying attention. It is about learning to inhabit the present moment, not as a stepping stone to the future, but as the only reality we ever truly have. It is about transforming the mundane into the sacred through the sheer power of our awareness. This is the path of resistance, a quiet rebellion against the tyranny of the clock. It is found in the deliberate pause, in the conscious breath, in the choice to engage with the world not as a problem to be solved, but as a mystery to be experienced. When we do this, something extraordinary happens. Time begins to change its shape. It softens, it expands, it regains its lost density. We begin to create what can be called temporal landmarks, rich, vivid memories that serve as anchors in the stream of our lives. These are the moments that stand out, the memories that give our personal history its narrative structure. They are the true measure of a life well lived. This journey takes us to a fascinating crossroads in the history of thought, a legendary encounter between two of the 20th century's greatest minds. In 1922, in a tense Parisian auditorium, Albert Einstein, the architect of relativity, faced Henri Bergson, the philosopher of duration. Einstein, with the unassailable logic of his equations, had shown that time was not absolute. It was a physical dimension, woven into the fabric of space, that could be bent by gravity and warped by speed. For him, time was what a clock measures. Bergson, however, posed a challenge that transcended physics. He argued that Einstein's clock time was a useful abstraction, a tool for science, but it was not the time of life itself. The time of consciousness, he insisted, could not be mapped onto a four-dimensional continuum. It was a creative, unfolding, and deeply personal flow. Einstein's now famous retort was sharp and dismissive. The time of the philosophers does not exist. For the physicist, anything that could not be measured was not real. Science had spoken, and philosophy was to remain silent. In the eyes of the scientific community, Einstein won the debate, but history has a longer perspective. While Einstein's time explains how our GPS satellites function, Bergson's time explains why our hearts ache with nostalgia, why we dread the wait for bad news, and why we lose ourselves in the ecstasy of a lover's embrace. We live in both realities at once. We are creatures of physics, bound by the laws of the universe. But we are also creatures of consciousness, weavers of meaning and experience. To deny one in favor of the other is to live a half-life. Today, neuroscience is beginning to vindicate Bergson's intuition. Researchers like David Eagleman have shown that our subjective perception of time is not a mere feeling, but a complex neurological process. In moments of fear or intense focus, the amygdala, our brain's emotional hub, kicks into overdrive. It commands the rest of the brain to lay down memories in far greater detail. When we look back on these moments, there is more data to process, and so we perceive the event as having lasted longer. Fear, quite literally, slows down time. Conversely, when we are engaged in something deeply pleasurable and immersive, a state psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi famously termed flow, our prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that monitors time, becomes less active. We stop watching the clock because we are completely absorbed in the experience itself. We are so present, so unified with the moment, that our sense of self and of passing time dissolves. This is why the best moments of our lives often feel so fleeting. Time didn't speed up, we simply stopped measuring it. We started living it. What this reveals is a breathtaking truth. We are the co-creators of our temporal reality. Our inner state, our emotions, our focus, our presence, is not a passive observer of time, but an active participant in its unfolding. We have the power to sculpt our experience of time, to stretch it and enrich it, to fill it with a depth and meaning that the clock can never measure. So, how do we begin this practice of temporal artistry? The tools are simpler than you might imagine. They are ancient technologies of the soul that have been set aside in our rush for progress. The first is contemplation. Find moments of stillness. Look at a sunset without the urge to capture it with a camera. Listen to a piece of music without doing anything else. Simply allow the world to reveal itself to you without agenda, without judgment. In this space of receptive silence, duration flourishes. The second tool is novelty. Break the chains of routine. Take a different route to work. Learn a new skill, even if you're terrible at it. Travel to a place you've never been. Speak to a stranger. These small ruptures in the fabric of the familiar jolt the brain out of its economy mode. They force it to pay attention, to create new neural pathways, to forge fresh memories. In essence, you are intentionally creating the conditions of your youth, reigniting the curiosity that makes the world feel alive and time feel abundant. The third, and perhaps most powerful, tool is presence. Cultivate the art of being fully where you are. When you eat, taste the food. When you walk, feel the ground beneath your feet. When you are with someone you love, offer them the undivided gift of your attention. Put away the phone. Close the laptop. Resist the siren call of digital distraction. This is the most profound act of rebellion in our accelerated age. To be fully present is to declare that your life is not a dress rehearsal. It is happening now. This is not a quest for more time, but for more life within the time we have. It is the realization that the richness of our existence is not determined by its length, but by its depth. It is about understanding that memory is the loom upon which we weave the tapestry of our lives. A life filled with routine and inattention is a threadbare cloth, thin and transparent. But a life filled with presence, novelty, and meaning is a rich, vibrant, dense fabric, heavy with the weight of experience. When we look back on such a life, the years will not seem to have vanished in a blur. They will be a mosaic of distinct, luminous moments, a collection of stories, a testament to a life truly lived. The question, then, is not how to stop time, for that is impossible. The question is how to inhabit it so fully that we are no longer afraid of its passing. To find eternity not in the endless extension of years, but in the boundless depth of the present moment. Because in the end, it is not time that is slipping through our fingers. It is we who are slipping through time, often without noticing. The journey back to ourselves begins with a single, conscious breath, right now.